Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you are all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and we are here for version 2, parts 2 of the Twitter chaos that happened on the timeline yesterday. After all the Hastro, Courage, JCap, Thorin stuff, well, came down to, well, I suppose it petered off to some small degree. Then we had this whole Cellium snake-in debacle come up once again. We talked about it a couple of times the last few days. We're going to have to talk about it again today. And well, Cellium dishing out the free content and the rest of the COD scene, you've got to say fair play. First of all, wanted to say thank you to Draftbuff for sponsoring this video. If you'd like to get involved with the draft rails for this week's major, you can certainly do so. This is the team I put together. I thought I had to throw Cellium on it just for the culture for this one. But yeah, Cellium, Simp, Skies, Awakening, Attach. Probably not the best team ever. I just put it together very quickly. But if you guys would like to join and completely demolish me in my own league, as well, pretty much everyone is doing right now, the link to that will be down below. Wanted to say congratulations as well to Maverick for winning last week. So he was first out of 3,810 with this team: Clay, aBeZy, Huke, Envoy, and Mac. So if you can make a team this good this time round, you will also be the winner. But yeah, a lot of people in this one. If you'd like to top it up to 4,000 people so I can get even worse in these groups, then well, feel free to do so. The link, of course, will be down below. Thanks to Draftbuff once again. Let's get into things then. So we talked about things earlier today, and Slasher says, is Cap on a talk show when he's in TeamSpeak with Hastro, Courage, and Thorin? So this is pretty funny, right? This image he puts out, and you can see Thorin in here, and you know, Hastro and Courage all in this call. But as it, you know, he goes on to explain, okay, TJHaLy is Hastro, Method is Courage in this photo, and well, Jacob's like, oh, what do you mean? Like me, Hastro, Courage, and Thorin all having a nice civil conversation after the drama that happened on the timeline earlier today. But this is where it kicks off once again, right? So Cellium tweets this out with a couple of my thumbnails on it, and he says, this false narrative being pushed is nothing but lies. All I do every day is grind and try and improve as a player and work with my team to get better. That is all I will continue to do. So look, my thumbnails aren't perfect or anything. Sometimes you've got to ride the line somewhat between what is you know, overly clickbaity, what isn't, so you can have the perfect blend of entertainment and information. And the thumbnails might not always hit that perfectly, but I try and keep the videos as unbiased as I realistically can. So I don't really know. Also, that like the weirdo thing in the thumbnail, I wasn't like saying that myself. I was quoting what what Formal said at the time. Supposedly maybe he wasn't actually targeting Cellium specifically with the whole weirdo thing. He said he was kind of talking about people who snake back when someone snakes at them. But then again, if you're calling like Fire and Aqua weirdos for responding to Cellium snaking, which seems like what Formal might have been doing, then surely like implicitly you're applying that Cellium, you know, the same quality applies to him maybe. I don't really know. It's an interesting one. But this is what Cellium says regardless, right? This is a false narrative. It's nothing but lies. I don't like snake or anything. I'm just trying to, you know, improve as a player, work with my team to get better. That is what I will continue to do. So okay, certainly fair enough. Decent statement from Cellium. Thought I'd cover it on the channel. But well, then of course it doesn't stop there. So then, you know, Hitch comes out in reply. I thought this is pretty funny. He says, you got him trying to hold you down, brother, big time. That's the problem, Hitch. Every time he's down, he goes back up, then back down again, then he pops back up. That of course being what snaking is. We haven't really looked at any clips of it so far in this whole situation, but well, we'll certainly look at some in just a couple of minutes time, but that being right here. So Kenny comes out in reply, brother, you are nasty, no doubt, but I don't know about the lies. Kind of saying that, okay, Cellium saying that everyone's lying about this, that he doesn't snake at all, but in fact he's taken some clips from their match right here. Maybe this was scrims or something, where well, it seems like Cellium is snaking over that Lights Heglet. So I'll play this video on screen for you guys, or at least I'll put it on the big screen, just so you can see exactly what is going on. Cellium over by this Heglet right here. It seems like, okay, maybe he's going up and down behind this cover, and well, some of them you can certainly see that he seems to be snaking it through the wall. I think it's mainly important to look at it through the wall rather than necessarily just the gunfights that Kenny gets in with this guy. And okay, sometimes you see this happening, sometimes you don't. It's an interesting discussion we've had the last few days. What qualifies as snaking? It's pretty much impossible to GA. That's what Clayster was talking about yesterday, the fact that supposedly Simp had told Cellium to stop, but he wasn't really doing it, and therefore, I mean, what can you really do about this? You're not going to blacklist the best team in the game because, well, of course, they're Atlanta FaZe. Someone's going to want to practice against them at some point. Therefore, Clay was like, okay, maybe everyone just abuses this and, well, learns to deal with it, but it's not exactly, it's pretty much frowned upon in the professional scene. And back in the day, when it's been used to even worse effect than it can be in Black Ops Cold War, there was rules that came into place, and the pros would talk to other pros and be like, okay, we probably shouldn't do this. And the frustration is about Cellium, supposedly, is that, you know, they're telling him not to do it, but he's still doing it regardless. We'll go on to some tweets that will explain that in just a second here. So some more replies. I mean, Envoy says, caught in 4K, holy moly. So certainly a number of the pro teams from a number of different organizations are not particularly happy with this whole Cellium situation. And well, then Simp comes out in reply. I saw a bunch of one and done snakes, which Austin literally said was fine when he talked to Tommy. So I think / Slasher went on Zoomer's podcast, The Flank or whatever, a couple of days ago, discussing how, okay, snaking is okay when you do it kind of only for one time. If you like just crouch maybe to reload or something, then you hop up behind the head glitch. Like there's nothing really you can do about that. It's just doing it repeatedly and again and again and again where, well, the issue does arise. And it has arisen in previous games, as we'll look at in Infinite Warfare, for example. But as Slasher says right here, this is way back to Black Ops 4. This was in that epic 100 Thieves versus FaZe Clan reverse sweep at Champs, and we're here on Gridlock Control. And you know, he points out a clip of Cellium like snaking this head glitch over at the 18-wheeler for pretty much an entire minute. But as Simp says, look, I don't care about Black Ops 4 clips. That was back in the day. I'm talking strictly Cold War. Kenny was just linked, you know, all he linked is just a one and done, you know, one and done snakes. Then Charles, I don't see an issue with that. But as Slasher says, this whole thing stems from that game where he started competing, where he did in fact snake relentlessly. That is just the truth. Cell is a good kid, but that type of stuff is just whack to play and watch, in my opinion, as it says Slasher. Snaking has been a thing for years, says Simp. To say he was the stem of it is BS, because if it was just him, you guys would have all taken care of it when he joined the league. It is legit just the truth. Whether you guys accept it or not is on you. We roasted him and told him multiple times to stop, which worked with everyone else, aka Josiah, so that being slacked in World War II when he used to snake a fair bit. Splice in Infinite Warfare, of course, after they won Stage 1 playoffs. I think the pros kind of came to an agreement, like we probably shouldn't abuse this snaking mechanic in the game. We'll look at it again, what it looks like here in just a second from the Infinite Warfare perspective. But he says, like, you know, everyone else that we talked to back in the day, they would just stop doing it. However, he, that being Cellium, continued to do it, and we don't really want to have a blacklist, but we should though, right? We should just like get FaZe on the blacklist so we don't even scrim you guys until you agree to this gentleman's agreement. I refuse to believe Cellium joined the league and you all bowed down to him after your 5+ year long snake agreement. Like I said, if it was up to me, the issue would have been resolved years ago. However, contrary to popular belief, I do not make the rules. Believe what you want though. So pretty incredible stuff. I mean, Kenny comes back in reply as well. Bro, at this point, it's not even about the snake now because everyone does it. I was just addressing the part when he said lies, right? So, of course, Cellium saying like, you know, the whole narrative is BS on this issue. But Kenny's like, look at these clips, right? It doesn't seem to be BS from, well, 100 Thieves perspective, from the LA Thieves perspective, clearly from Envoy as well that he looked at as well. And, well, Octane as well, we're going to look at in a second. Crone then comes out and finds this tweet to retweet. So, this is what snaking looks like in full form. This is Cellium way back in Infinite Warfare. And this is what people used to do to abuse this mechanic in the game. You crouch, you just about go prone, and then, well, you stand up again. If you do this repeatedly, this is what, like, the entirety of Stage 1 playoffs in Infinite Warfare was pretty much. Like, it's very impossible to even see Cellium in this spot, let alone actually kill him off this head glitch. So, pretty much impossible to deal with. This is effectively what people are talking about when they talk about snaking. And I suppose it's coming back in the whole situation, the fact that Cellium saying this whole narrative is a lie, but then people are trying to bring the receipts from a few years ago. Totally understand it, but of course, maybe we don't care about a few years ago. We want receipts from this year. And, well, Kenny was trying to do that his best as he possibly could on the timeline yesterday. Octane says, like, for sure, like, this is the stuff that's been going on for years. Pro's not particularly happy with Cellium. I mean, it just is what it is. Then we've got this from Enable. Somebody gotta send me the 10-day contract. Pretty funny video of, well, him snaking this head glitch right here. This is just kind of how it works. You can see Enable bobbing up and down, bobbing and weaving. It's very difficult to kill him, you can see, because, okay, the head's showing, then it's not showing anymore. You can kind of get the information without really revealing yourself. And this is kind of what people are talking about when they discuss snaking. And it's not a movement, effectively a game-breaking movement, given how the character models work. And it can be very difficult to see you at times. So this is the type of stuff the pros are frustrated about. Cellium comes out and says, look, the whole narrative is BS. But a lot of the pros then fire back in response and say, look, actually, you are doing it. And, well, we should actually just blacklist you from the scene. That's how Slasher would do it if he completely called the shots. But that's not fully the case. I mean, it just continues, right? So Formal says, I mean, you guys remember, if you've been around a while, 2016 Call of Duty World Championships on Black Ops 3. Formal lost a 1 versus 1 to Assault. Game 5, round 11 on, what was it, Stronghold, Search and Destroy. And there was actually a situation where he was kind of on a head glitch, but he actually went for the challenge rather than snaking it, right? As Formal says, I should have snaked Assault in that 1 versus 1. Given all the snaking stuff that's going on right now, supposedly that would have been perfectly fine. As Kenny says, hopefully the CDL doesn't send snakes to our cribs after all this stuff. I mean, absolute chaos. And then, just to finish off the video, this happened as well. Wester, the best team in the Challenger side, at least in the North American region, they dropped Zaptius. Zaptius is gone, free agent for Challengers. Team wanted to drop their engineer sub S&D strat caller for Timmy Phantoms from a UT crew. Got a lot of knowledge about how Respawn is played in this game. Hit me up if you want to be part of the Revenge Tour. So Zaptius gets dropped from the team. Not something I was expecting. Really just capped up an absolute chaos of a day. And I suppose we'll have to talk about this in coming days as well. I mean, the major starts just tomorrow, so there's really no time to get into all this stuff. But just to kind of wrap up the day, Slasher says, what do you have as your number one COD day of all time? Hastro versus Courage and Jacob, or my personal fave, Haggy versus Zaptius, which of course was last year when Haggy and Zaptius, that being Parasite and Zaptius, were teaming together in the Challenger side. side, and there was the whole DMing his teammate's girlfriend type of stuff, which we talked about a while ago. But as Courage says, this is a good shout as well. Nah, Nadeshot versus Aches is still top 1 for me. You act like I'd even notice 15k leaving my bank account. I would never forget that. Simrit finds it right here. So Nadeshot way back in the day at FaZe Aches, yo, OpTic Teep and Matt Misterek said if I was on Colin Place of You, we would never have lost an event. You know, Paddy P comes back in reply, you paid $15,000 to get players on OpTic Gaming so you could finally win something, and I still beat that team twice. And then he comes back in reply, the absolute classic, you're talking like I'm gonna notice that 15k left my account. That's probably the note we have to finish it on. What a day of Call of Duty action on the timeline. No Call of Duty was even played, but it's still one of the craziest days I've seen in the COD team for quite a while now. Certainly a lot of drama and spice to keep your eyes on going forwards as well. I suppose it was only a matter of time until someone called me out of the timeline. I'm not expecting the pros to like what I do or the content or anything. It's not really built for them, right? So, you know, okay, they can say whatever, but at the end of the day, if you're going to tweet about that stuff, I'm going to talk about it in videos. That's just how the world goes round. So, intrigued to get your thoughts in the comment section about this one. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm that you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.
Stay there. Just snake that shit, bro.
Yeah, I'm thinking this.
I'm going mid.
I'm watching your snake. I'm watching like inside lab.
Hold the cross. I have the cross. Unless you already went through blue.
Yo, hold bottom. I'm watching your top.
Enemy scarab active.
One shot. I knew I was here. I got one on one shot.
Enemy
I killed that
scarab
scarab.
active.
He's top flash.
Get on, watch your bottom.
He's
Watch
split
your
out. He's split out. I spawned all the way out.
I'm working out.
I know.